Hi, welcome to Road by Culture. I'm your host, Kevin Isley. Today we're going to talk about Onion Valley Road. Onion Valley Road is considered the hardest climb in California and number 3 in the United States. Who makes this up? I don't know. People just happen to say that and everybody says that. So I went out to see if it was. Onion Valley Road is located in the eastern Sierras in what's called Owens Valley. Onion Valley Road connects in Independence, California on Highway 395. Independence is 43 miles south of Bishop, California. When planning this ride, we decided to stay in Lone Pine, California, which is 17 miles south of Independence, because they have better restaurants, better hotels, a little more options. Independence is truly a one-horse town. The ride out to Independence was a really nice ride along a highway. We started early, there was not a lot of traffic, just some big trucks that went by, but other than that, pretty respectful of bike riders. I think there's a lot of us out there throughout the year. Once you get to Independence, there's a gas station there. Make sure you refuel with water and get something extra to eat, because for the next 12.2 miles, you have no stops, no water, no anything. So do it while you can. Your first 1.3 miles is a 5% grade, and all you're doing on this grade is staring at the mountain. The next 5 miles are 7% average grade as you get to the first campground. After that, you make a right-hand turn and everything changes. Once you get to the first campground, you've already climbed 2,100 vertical feet in 6 miles. So you went from 4,000 to 6,100 feet. But the next 6.2 miles, you're gonna get 3,000 more feet, and it's going to be a difficult journey ahead. You start off at about 10% grade as you ascend to the first switchback. This is difficult if it's a windy day. You're going to be getting a lot of crosswind depending on which way the wind's blowing, or if it's just coming down the mountain. But this is where you start to see Owens Valley. This is where you start to see how beautiful this ride is going to be, and you have a lot more to go. During this part of the ride, you're going to hit some grades that are 15, 17, and even 20% as you keep going higher and higher. And when you hit mile 10, that's when you're at 8,000 feet. And at 8,000 feet, you start to get altitude sickness. Not everybody does get altitude sickness, and I've ridden my bike up to 10,000 feet before, and I've really had no problems, but some people really feel it at 8,000 feet, so be aware. The last 2.2 miles are really steep, really brutal, but really beautiful, because Owens Valley is way below you. If you look off to your left, you're going to see Mount Whitney, and if you look straight up, it's beautiful. It is the Pacific Coast Trail. It is the Sierra Nevadas. It is iconic cycling. But it's difficult as the air gets thinner, your heart rate increases, and it's getting steeper. So there's a lot going on here. Once you get to the parking lot, you're at 9,000 feet. Celebrate, high five with your friends, because you made it to 9,000 feet. You just did Onion Valley Road. But if you go up a little higher past the parking lot, there's some picnic benches, and that goes to 9,127 feet. So if you're interested in a little more vert, a little more altitude, go up a little higher. It's really worth it. And the view is spectacular of the mountain. What goes up must go down, they say. And the descent from Onion Valley it's a good descent, but it's not a comfortable descent. Because those last 6.2 miles that you climbed, if you noticed, if you look down, you saw big black stripes. Well, that's tar basically holding the concrete together for the road. And as you get speed built up on the descent, you start going da-dun, 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 and it's not a very comfortable descent. The switchbacks are really nice. And once you get past that 6.2 miles and it's that last shot all the way down to the valley floor, it's a straight shot. But when we did it, we had a south to north wind, which was really kind of blowing us all over the place. So it made it a little hairier, but I still got up to like 48, 49 miles an hour, and I felt pretty safe on it. And it's a nice descent because it is just going down straight. On the way back to Lone Pine, and if you're a history buff like me, you want to make a stop at Manzanar Internment Camp. This is where we interned 120,000 Japanese people during World War II. Under armed guard, we kept them there. It was a prison, and in today's political climate, it's very good to see what we did and what the future could hold. It's not pretty in my opinion, and no matter what your political belief, it's really worth it to see the history of America. Ansel Adams went out here during the internment and he photographed it beautifully, and I'll put that link below so you can see what it was like back in the day. But seeing this sight while on a bike ride. It's eye-opening, and I highly recommend when you go out on these trips to see things, to really look at the history of where you are. Remember when I said we rode 17 miles from Lone Pine, California to Independence? And then remember when I said we had a south to north wind? Well, that 17 miles all the way back was completely a headwind. It was brutal on our legs. So when we got to Independence, we had to stop at a store and just get something to eat really quick and kind of sit on a bench. So is the Onion Valley climb the hardest climb in California? I've done steeper climbs in Northern California. I've done longer climbs in California, and I've gotten to higher altitude in California. But I have never been on a climb that got to such high altitude, that was so steep and so long. So when you put those three factors together, I'm gonna say Onion Valley is probably the hardest climb in California, and definitely the hardest climb I've ever done. Well, I think that just about covers it. Onion Valley Road, hardest climb in California. If you like this episode, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. And remember, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter. So until the next time, I hope to see you out there on the road.